Episode 21 was supposed to happen last week, but unfortunately things changed at the last minute. Welcome to you if you're joining us. Obviously, we've got a full house today. We've got Devon, Muna,
Hello, everybody.
Kimmy. Actually, we've got the whole not Aston Martin racing in here. This would be a good this would be a good time to explain.
What are we explaining?
This would be a good time to explain the current situation at not Aston Martin Racing.
Who's winning and who's not winning?
That's Bruce's fault.
No. The question is with regards to the lack of championship points. What?
Oh.
No one can blame me because I mean, clearly there's a third driver in the team, but.
Who's that cat you're talking about?
I don't know. That cat in here. Bruce. Is it Bruce?
No.
Oh.
Bruce is the test driver for not Aston Martin Racing. That's why that's why we've got such great data. And if you're wondering, Bruce is a cat who's probably on catnip while coming up with our setups. So
Well, it's like his boss though. His boss. What? Spook and plop.
I cannot confirm nor deny the allegations put in, towards Bruce right now.
Is Bruce also given Tom Charles as Jeff?
I can put a Charles label around catnip bowl, but it's false advertising, I suppose.
we should win now, I suppose.
Yeah, it's just something like that. Yeah.
So now, obviously, just briefly, the last race at TnB on Friday night. I'm the host, so I don't have to answer this. So how did it go? Muna, what did you make of Friday?
I'd rather not say anything.
Kimmy, what did you make of Friday?
When I had the place, I tried to keep up. For once, my spoken block wasn't working properly and I made some silly mistakes.
Good evening there to our first commenter, Rob. Rob, just let me know what the sound sounds like. I've got a bit of another setup here. I'm a bit worried that the other guys are gonna sound far away. So just let us know. Obviously, we missed last week. There was no Formula One race last week, but you guys know where we're going this week. We're going to Turkey. We're not going to Portimão. We're going to Turkey.
Well, the Hulk is sitting in traffic on his way to Turkey, and someone's trying to wave at him. That was earlier.
The Hulk is on his way to Turkey.
Yeah, there's a picture in Reddit with the Hulk driving. Can't see what car it is, but he's sitting doing 10 kph.
He tried to fucking push my.
Okay, yeah, just don't. Whoa, with the swearing. So I just want to mention it before I forget it. Just coming out of MotoGP a couple of minutes ago, Dovizioso has announced he's taking a sabbatical in 2021.
Well, also coming up is Adrianoni's 4-year ban.
Oh, yeah.
4-year ban.
4 years
For what?
doping.
We all knew he's getting a ban. We just didn't know how severe.
Yeah.
That's like the maximum punishment there.
Is a pretty awful.
That is a bit of a heavy ban. I mean, after 4 years, what's the chances you're going to climb back on a motorcycle and be competitive?
Not just MotoGP wise, but his whole competitive career is finished. That's
Like what
no
team?
competitive racing, nothing.
What team would sign him after that? You know, yeah. Romano Fenati came back. That wasn't a 4-year ban. That was I think it was a 3-year ban, and he managed to get it cut down. But yeah, I think that's a bit of a career killer for him. And as far as this sabbatical goes, I'm not convinced. Will we see Dovizioso back in 2022, or I really don't see where he'd go. There's so much youth coming up. Where would Dovizioso go, considering he'd probably only come back for a competitive bike?
Yeah, I thought he would go to Brilliant. It was a plan.
No,
He obviously feels it's not worth it.
I actually thought he'd go to Aprilia, but he probably sees that, look, if I'm not going to get podiums, if I'm not going to get race wins, I might as well take the year off. Hopefully when he comes back in 2022, travel and all of these things are a lot easier. Maybe just take the year off. But I hope he does get back in. He's obviously been 4-time runner-up to none other than Marc Marquez, so not the luckiest of riders. Always had some heavy competition. But
I see Marquez isn't coming back.
It's also, yeah, that also came out of MotoGP earlier today. He's not coming back this year, so we will see Marc Marquez in 2021. He's not coming back for Valencia or Portimão. So obviously we're going to have a repeat of last week's race. MotoGP wise, they're going to do Valencia again. Brad Binder, South African rider, obviously I say he's got some chances this weekend, because did you guys see his race last week? Started in 11th, did his long lap penalty, and finished in 7th.
Exactly, yeah.
And he was lapping fastest lap of the race at one stage. So I think
close to the end, yeah.
if he had started top 5, I think he would have had a very different race. So maybe second time round he's going to have a bit of MotoGP data going around Valencia. Maybe Paul was definitely able to get quite a lot out of that KTM. So hopefully we'll see Brad extracting a bit more out of that KTM next week. In terms of championship leader, is that unless the man falls, I really, the mathematical chance is still there, but he leads by 37 points. So if he falls and Rins wins, that will obviously close it a lot. But I think if he finishes top 5, he's pretty much done the championship, and no one could have predicted Joan Mir on the Suzuki would have been MotoGP champion.
Imagine having a champion that didn't win race the whole season.
Not only did he not win a race this whole season, he's not a MotoGP. Okay, now he is. But up until Sunday, he was not a MotoGP winner. He had never won.
Yeah.
Not this season, not last season. He had never won a MotoGP race. And he was leading the championship. And I actually liked that stat. That was crazy. That was like the best example of what consistency can do.
Yeah.
But obviously they go back to Valencia. We'll have a repeat of that, and then the week after that we're gonna have the finale. That'll be an interesting one. No track data for Portimão. We saw the Formula 1 cars there a few weeks ago. What are you guys from watching the Formula 1 race? Guys excited to see MotoGP around Portimão?
Yeah, the guys actually have some testing there. I think Yamaha had a test day there. I think it was a month or 2 months ago.
Yeah,
it was standard bikes. It wasn't anything GP wise.
Okay. So
Brad Binder, one of his tests, or first test on a KTM was at Portimão. So He's been around there.
So no, look, they have been around Portimão, and obviously the Spanish Superbike series does race at Portuguese venues. So a lot of the riders that came through Spanish Superbikes, which would be most of them, they will have history with the track. I think it's just being around there on a Moto 3 or a Moto 2 and being around there on a Moto GP for the first time. Well, for the rookies, nothing else will change, but for everyone else, just 2 races to go. Obviously, the calendar was released, but it's also a provisional calendar for 2021. So I don't know how much we should make of it. Have you guys seen the F1 calendar?
I heard it's a record-breaking long as season, but I didn't see the list myself. But I hear it's quite huge.
It will be the longest F1 season ever.
How many races?
23.
23, 24,
23. 23.
23. And I see a noise being dropped without ever getting to host the actual race. I feel that's like another Codemasters first.
Yeah, that's going to be a Codemasters first. That's they had Hanoi on the game. It was never in the sport. Love it. Let's just see if I can find that provisional calendar while I'm looking. Oh, there we go. I found it. Zoom in a bit. Okay, there we go. So obviously we start off with this will obviously be. I don't know how much to read into this calendar, guys, because this is all presuming we get to March and COVID isn't a thing. You know, so this is all provisional because like they've done this whole season in Europe, and according to this calendar we're going everywhere. So I don't know. Round 1 Australia, familiar territory. Round 2 Bahrain. Round 3 China. Okay. Round 4 to be confirmed. Okay, so they're gonna fill in round 4. They're not gonna cancel it. So even though Hanoi's been dropped from the calendar, they want to replace round 4 with something else. Then Spain, Monaco, Baku, Canada, France, Austria, obviously Silverstone, Hungary, Belgium, the Netherlands. The Netherlands Motorsport Committee came out and said, we're not confirming this date. So, yeah. Then Italy, Sochi, Singapore, Japan, USA, Mexico, Brazil with an asterisk because we're not even sure what track that's supposed to be at. And then Saudi Arabia and Abu Dhabi. So another street circuit. Is anybody? I don't think we have any Saudi Arabian viewers, so I don't think I'm going to offend anybody. But I'm not trying to be offensive. But is anybody excited for Saudi Arabia?
No.
Unless they're doing a jump from one building to the next.
What you mean, like? You mean like they're going to go Fast and the Furious style?
Was that in Saudi or was that in Dubai? I can't remember.
I think it was in Abu Dhabi.
I'm pretty sure Vettel's like promoter, or he said no DHL signs around this track. Nothing. DHL's banned.
Oh no. It would be pretty funny if it landed up on his racing overalls and the guy just said like the guy just had a free subject to contract. Okay, so there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tracks on this calendar that are subject to contract, whatever that means. So yeah, there's a lot provisional about that calendar. Another change.
It also depends that COVID, we know something will disappear soon. Well, I personally think so. So, I mean, you've got European countries locked down right now, and I'm quite surprised that there's still racing happening. to be honest. So
I think the only reason there's racing happening is because it's almost at the end of their calendars, and they're like, okay, you know what? But yeah, if there were still weeks and weeks to go,
extra mile.
I think if there was still like 12 weeks of Formula One to go, I think we'd be seeing funny things in the calendar. But they're trying to hold on to normality as much as they can. Obviously, announcements in Formula 2 and Formula 3, cost cutting announcements to make the sport easier to compete in from a financial point of view. They've decided to cut down the venues that they go to, and rather have 3 rounds at each venue that they do go to. So
I saw that, yeah.
21 races, 7 countries. So basically they'll be going to less places, and also another change is you're not going to be getting Formula 2 and Formula 3 on the same weekend. So either Formula 2 will be the opening show for Formula 1, or Formula 3 will be the opening show for Formula 1, but we won't get all 3 at the same circuit. And then obviously...
It also begs the question, just like mind-wise, you go to Formula 1 weekend thinking at some rounds, or most of the rounds, you watch all 3 categories. Now you only got one or the other.
Oh well, like if we did have a South African round, we definitely wouldn't have Formula 2 and Formula 3.
No,
I can tell, like they only go to the European venues mostly, and maybe Bahrain or Abu Dhabi, something that's not too far.
You are a European resident and you watched Monza last year, and you paid £200 for your ticket, whatever ticket it was, a whole full weekend, what. You watch all 3 categories. Next year you go to the same venue, pay the same money,
You watch
the
2.
whole category less. Would you pay that money?
I don't know. It's a difficult, if you're trying to cut the cost and whatever, and I understand the whole 3 races, less venues, I understand that, but if you're probably trying to get 3 races out of Formula 3 and 3 races out of Formula 2 and still have an F1 weekend, I suppose things could probably get really cramped up.
Well, obviously, I think because
You just need one of those races. You just need one of those races to throw out a red flag and throws your whole weekend off.
if governments get involved and funding and this and that, they're obviously going to keep ticket prices more or less the same to project the same sort of revenue.
If I'm reading this,
Category less.
if I'm reading this correctly, Rob is saying no. He's really excited for Saudi Arabia. Does Rob just go with the opposite of? I don't know. Rob says Mercedes 7-time constructors champions. Let's go.
Ever in Pretoria, I would love to go down to Rob's house and meet his mother, because this boy loves Monaco in the rain. So somewhere along the line, she dropped him on his head. I wanna confirm this.
You wanna confirm this diagnosis?
Yes. Like, what happened to Rob? He ate too much carrots, or did you drop him on his head, or
Carrots.
Why carrots? What's happening? Nah, joking. Rob.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Rob says that was a typo. He meant to say not excited for Saudi Arabia instead of no, really excited. So obviously F1 doing another example of going where the money is. It's gonna look quite different. We're gonna have a not Aston Martin racing team racing around the streets of Saudi Arabia. If not Aston Martin finish any races and they don't follow their predecessors. At least none of those drivers are here tonight because they'd be horribly embarrassed. While we're talking, we'll go back to F1 and MotoGP in a minute. While I've got you guys here and you're live on the stream, so you have to answer. What has happened to our commentator,
I don't know.
Mr. Coffee?
He's a bit busy the last few Saturdays. The first Friday was I couldn't log on. The first two Fridays I couldn't log on.
Oh, you're talking about this one, not the other one.
No, I'm not talking about the other one. He's not even here. That clown. That question still remains. Where is the Iceman? But since we do have the commentator that was supposed to jump in when Johan missed out, well, I've streamed 2 races.
I've got a theory. Both commentators are contacted by not Aston Martin Racing. They cannot
show up.
by some reason or miraculous anything. If it's contractual, not make every race.
In the A.
So some we need to go and study those contracts because something's up with the Iceman. He's just not showing up. I think he found a loophole in his contract.
I think he got Papa Stroll around the fucking thick neck. I'm sorry, I swore, guy. I mean, he slapped him across the face. And Papa Stroll didn't take kindly to it. Let's just say that.
Papa Stroll. So
I really think you're gonna say Papa Smurf.
hopefully we do see the return of Captain Ice at some stage during this season. But as far as I know, Devin, will you be back on Friday?
Yes, I will.
Okay, so we will have some form of commentary for TnB on Friday. We didn't have any commentary for the first time in, I don't know, last week. Because we've had 3 without commentary, and the first 2 I jumped in and did the commentary myself. And then the last one I did not.
The second one I tried to, but it was a massive failure.
Oh yes, that was the first one I commentated because I retired early on. And then the second one was he decided to broadcast as a TnB Broken special Platinum Edition.
Yeah. It went well for the first 40 minutes. After that,
This is actually a little known fact. I mean, if you're watching, you should go on YouTube and go have a look. But it's a little known fact that there is a series called TnB Broken. It's on various different channels, spread across the internet.
Let's go see.
They're all bad. I don't know if you're gonna find it if you stream it like that. But you're gonna there's TnB Broken that you may find on Wazzy's channel, several episodes. There's
my TnB portal.
There's one TnB Broken episode that you'll find on, of all people, Pitt's channel. I entrusted Pitt with the commentary on one occasion. Okay, now I'm not a complete idiot. Okay, having said what I just said, I know you're like, idiot, how could you have done that? I'm not a complete idiot. Johan was not able to make the commentary, and we were in the lobby about to start the race, and Pitt decided I would like to try and commentate.
Is that the 144 pixelated one?
So I told him, okay, Pitt, listen, you can commentate, but you're gonna upload to your own YouTube channel, and if it's any good, I'll give you the YouTube password one day. He said okay. He went on to do the video in 144p like it was Windows 95.
But the most impressive stat about that video is,
I know he dissed me a few times in it.
For Pitt to stay awake and actually complete the commentary stint.
Stay awake. You mean
He
he stayed
stuck
awake?
some Velcro to his headrest, and coupled with his hair, kept his head up straight, and he was correlating. 144p, Velcro. Pete did a good job. Did a good job.
If actually, when it came down to that commentary session, if it did not, if it didn't come down to the quality of the broadcast, his actual audio, his commentary itself, it was pretty good. I'll say that it was pretty good. And he actually got a. I watched it a bit, and he got a few laughs out of me.
It's fantastic.
Trying to multitask, and not very good at that. So if every now and then there's an awkward silence, that's me multitasking to the very best of my ability. Obviously, another thing from GP is that Leopard is looking to enter a team in 2022, and is it a Vicia Ducati? I keep on forgetting the name of that team. I think it's a Vicia Ducati. It's the team of Johan Zarco and Tito Rabat. Basically, both those riders have been dropped. Zarco will be moving on to Pramac Ducati, I believe. And I don't know where Tito Rabat will go. But two rookie riders will be joining that team. Luca Marini, stepbrother of Valentino Rossi, and I believe Estia Bastianini. So both of them are VR46 riders joining the same team. I think VR46 team is all. I think all the writing is on the wall that when Rossi leaves the sport, VR46 is going to remain as a team. I think that's gonna turn into a team. Rob saying it's a good season and half of it hasn't been streamed. It's a good season if you're speaking to the right person. Depending on who you speak to, this has been disastrous. I haven't finished a race in 4 rounds.
Oh, boys, you we're like what, 3 races down, 4, 5.
4 races down. We've got
round that the not Aston Martin racing boys will come together in full.
we're all waiting for our much needed break.
Dominate.
We're all waiting for our much needed break. But obviously round 5 is we're all so super excited. I mean, Rob just won't shut up about it. He's thrilled. We're going to Catalonia, and remember between Catalonia and round 6 we're gonna have a 1 week break, which was something we discussed at the beginning of the season. So
when I get some practice for Catalonia,
can do some practice for whatever round 6 is gonna be, except not Sebastian is going to prepare for TnB F1 2020 by practicing on a game named after a sinus medication.
and different comp, I suppose. Way different comp.
From Rob's perspective, Project TGR, it's been a fantastic season. Obviously also there in the championship, SAF1. I almost called them SAF1 F1. They're not SAF1. They are SAF1. They're not SAF1 F1. They just SAF1 or SAF1 or SAF1, but they can't be SAF1 for F1. Okay, yeah. I'll get it right eventually. It only took me like 9 seasons to get SAAOLR.
F1 or SAF1 or I just called him Batman.
Batman. When you're not sure the origins of something, you just call it Batman. Same as your cat.
Yes.
Except you called it Bruce, which is an alter ego of, well, Batman.
Yes, because he's not here, and when he comes in here, he's demanding, and
He's Bruce Wayne. He
Yes.
just
Yes,
shows
got
up and
that-
he's Bruce Wayne. He just shows up and he's on his way again.
he's got that face that only a mother can love. Yeah, he's Bruce. He's Bruce. Definitely a Bruce.
Don't be ugly to your cat. It's a bit of
I think this cat's having a blast. It's living the life it always wanted to live.
see with that performance last week and with Alex Marquez falling, means Brad Binder is leading the rookie championship. Yeah, so he's leading the rookie of the year again. But that's gonna cut it close. He needs to get a good finish out of this KTM. I think in the last two, because Alex Marquez, he equaled him on points 2 rounds ago. So hopefully he'll have a good second round at Valencia and an even better round at Portimão. Maybe another win before the end of the season. Maybe a win for his brother. What if we heard the anthem twice on a Sunday?
That would be fantastic.
That would be insane.
Box office bender.
Imagine a MotoGP weekend where you hear the South African anthem more than the Spanish or Italian one.
Brilliant.
That would be insane. Just need to get it in F1, but I don't even think they have it in their. They probably haven't even downloaded the MP3.
No. I'll be phoning Jacob like, help.
Tito Rabat was just looking it up. Tito Rabat is busy looking at his options. Doesn't seem like a MotoGP seat will become available, or even in Moto 2. So, at the moment, it looks like a Super Sport 600.
Tito is he's a Moto 3 world champion. Done well Moto 2, so for somebody like that never got the right ride, sad to see him struggle to get a seat.
Wait, sorry, I got a question. Where does Super Sport 600 fall in the grand scheme of?
Okay, so basically you get a few categories when you talk about Superbike, World Superbike. All the promotion is on WSBK, and people actually forget there's other categories. So you get the WSBK, which is obviously the main category, and then it used to be World Super Sport and World Super Stock, and then World Super Sport. It's basically that MotoGP bike is a complete prototype built by the factory for the purpose of racing, whereas a superbike is something that you can find that looks very similar in a showroom. Obviously, it's not the showroom bike. There's things they can do. There's things they can add. And then when you go down to World Super Sport, there's less things that you can add, and it's more like the bike on the showroom. And when you get to Super Stock, it's virtually the bike on the showroom. And then they added another category to Super Sport, which is Super Sport 600. So now you get Super Sport 600, Super Sport 1000, Super Stock 1000, and WSBK. And those don't all take place on the same weekend, but yeah. Similar to a Formula 2, Formula 3 situation. Sometimes they'll throw in this, sometimes they'll throw in that. Or they don't go to all the races on the calendar. But yeah, when we had Kyle Lamy, we had World Super Sport, World Super Stock, and 2 heats of WSBK. So let's I'm gonna let Devon and not Sebastian talk a little bit, because when we came up with this podcast was going to be a little bit about motorsport, a little bit about TnB, and a little bit about SSR. And probably for the past 5 episodes, I don't think we've spoken more than 5 minutes about SSR. So, Devin, or Muna, whichever one, has got more of an idea of what's happening in the lately in SSR. What happened on Thursday? Where are you heading next week? Stage is yours.
We just had our first race for the combined season, meaning it's a GT3 and GT4 championship. It's actually working out very well, if I'm honest. I missed that one. Yeah, but that was, where was it? I can't remember. Spa. Yeah. Yes. And this one is my favorite of all favorite tracks. Brand patch.
No, if Devin's talking about his favorite track, I don't trust Devin at all. So he's probably talking about a mountainous thing in Australia.
Oh, that's well, Brand Patch is my favorite of all favorite track. Horrible track.
Your favoritist of all favoritists.
Yes. You are speaking very, very well English.
This is proper Cape Townian coming through right now, because like this is the favoritist of favoritist. You know the first time you said favoritist, it should have just explained what you were trying to say.
So much.
Yeah.
So much. But yeah, Branch Premier League, Muna is doing a 24-hour race very soon. You are also joining with that.
Guys, talk about your race for the next 2 minutes, so I can send a text, please.
Wait, what?
Just talk. I'll be back.
And what is also joining?
Yeah, I just wanted to say this other cat that might join quite soon. I don't know.
With a spook and pluck, the guys that came up with that is actually, I don't know if they're staying anonymous. But they were the driving force behind this, so hopefully we see you.
We'll see if this driver can get to grips with the new format and cars and everything. They might ban the poor oak on PlayStation Network for a couple of weeks. What did we do? We created a monster.
Just after the war, though, I think that glitch is still there, no? In Spa. You must try it out. Let me know.
Favoritist of favoritist. Devin. Brands Hatch. Why? Why? Really? Like, you know what? Brands Hatch. I'm not saying I like the mountain, okay? But really, if those were the two, I don't want to go to Brands Hatch. It's about as exciting as Donington. Yeah.
What's that one?
You've got Matt on the ground rolling out, wanting to punch your face right in.
Yeah, Matt is probably so angry. He's like, Donington is the best circuit on earth, and I'm like, no, Matt, it's really not.
Silverstone when I go to Brands Hatch.
Okay, yeah, well, there is a few places I wouldn't mind sitting in Silverstone. Wouldn't mind sitting in the Maggots and Beckett's complex, just watching that for hours. That would be awesome. Even a test session, just to watch those cars go around at full throttle and change direction the way they do. It's insane.
I'd go around Silverstone and still be missing 20k from Muna.
So I went when the F1 came to Kyalami for testing in the early 2000s. Well, most of Kyalami looked as it looks today, but obviously there's been a few changes since Porsche bought it. But one of the changes is turn 1. Turn 1 is now further down the road. The straight is longer. So the straight was slightly shorter, and if you sat at the right part of the grandstand in turn 1, you could see the pit exit. So went there for this testing, and I was sitting in this particular part of the grandstand, because now you can see the car coming out the pits. And you'd see it coming out the pits, and it stays to its speed limit or whatever, and it would hit that line, And from the time it accelerated to the time it got to turn one, it was no more than 3 or 4 seconds. And you're talking hundreds of meters. It was, and that's not even a particularly fast part of the circuit. So that's why I say if I had to go anywhere, maybe Belgium, very fast part of Silverstone, Parabolica.
Spa's one of the tracks you have to go to before you die. I think
Mountain is where you must go.
If you could only pick one, okay? If you could only pick one, you can sit in any F1 grandstand at any track in a normal non-COVID season. What corner would that be of what track?
Catalonia.
Turn one.
God, shit, Catalonia.
Did you say Catalonia?
No, he meant it.
This man is trying to start a controversy in TnB. It's
Give me your mom's phone number. I need to phone this woman. Good question. Serious question.
turn one in Did you say turn one in Catalonia?
Turn one? Was he specific?
I think he said turn one in Catalonia. But I don't know. I don't know. Why? What the hell? What happens in turn one at Catalonia?
Nothing, that's the
You
point.
turn right. Okay.
Like,
Okay. Give me you.
brainwashed by
While Devin rethinks his answer, give me any grandstand, any corner in the world. Which one would it be?
It's a tougher question than you think.
Absolutely.
You're asking me right now. But the purist in me would first of all go to Spa, but it's followed very closely to turn one at Monza.
That's what I said.
You said turn one at Catalonia.
No,
Listen to a V10 or V8 motor back in the day at Monza, screaming down that straight. Oh.
Okay, you know where I'd actually want to sit?
Here it comes now.
You know the left-right chicane at Australia, the fast one.
Turn 7, no,
Turn
6 and 7.
6
The
and
one
7.
the one where you want the throttle and you
For that change of direction.
Ah, yes.
Rob has come up with his favorite turn one at Baku.
Well,
Really?
What
turn
happens
one
at
Monza.
what happens turn one at Baku?
Turn one Monaco in the rain.
No, none of that. It's just corner cutting over the pit exit. I've got terrible experience.
Formula 1 experience, weekend, race, qualifying.
I know what would beat any grandstand in the world. If you could go sit on Kimmy's yacht, you would watch Monte Carlo.
Monaco.
Yes.
With apple the coffee.
I'll probably fucking.
Oh no, there's no tap water coffee on the Kimmy yacht. Beer comes out of the taps. So
By the end of that weekend, you'll be riding plateable dolphins.
you guys wouldn't say no to watching a Monaco Grand Prix live.
No, obviously.
I would go watch. It obviously wouldn't if it's something that I'm paying a heck of a lot of money for. It's not the one I would choose for obvious reasons. Obviously the racing and whatever, but it's Formula One. But if you're gonna spend the week prior in Monte Carlo preparing for that's gonna be very, very, very expensive. You know the tunnel at Monte Carlo. On top of the tunnel, that's obviously a big building. That's a hotel. Okay. Do you know what a hotel room with a view of the track is valued at on a Monte Carlo weekend?
I don't even want to know.
It's $250,000 a night.
I've got a
$250,000 a night. And you're not going to Monaco to sleep there one night. So that's why I say No, it's not gonna happen.
He worked on a cruise ship. And this man put in leave when they docked at the French Riviera. He put in 2 weeks leave to watch the Monaco Grand Prix. And he cut the oaks grass for free for 2 weeks. Just for a spot to sleep, but it was like right next to the track.
Oh,
What a smart boy. I think I can't remember exactly what year it was. It was either 2001 or 2002. You know, the screaming V10s, what experience that must have been.
We heard them when they came and tested here in Kyle Army. Heard them in the mine shaft. It was. I'm glad I got to hear what that era sounded like, live. It's obviously not gonna be the same, but I don't know. I think more and more motorsport is heading in that direction. And I mean the new DTM that's just been launched, which is maybe their 2022 car, I think, or I'm not sure, is it 21 or 22?
No, I think it's 22, yeah.
And if
1,200 horsepower.
Yeah.
That's 2021. They're changing the cars for next year.
Well, that will change DTM as we know it, and it won't even resemble the formula that it once was. So I mean, you had V10, you had V8 Mercs and Audis and BMWs going up against each other at a stage, and this season it was Formula BMW, but
And Audi, but I saw the.
no, not Audi. Audi left DTM. I mean, that Sheldon van der Linde was supposed to drive for Audi, for DTM. That happened right at the beginning of the season, and then Audi dropped out of the sport during this whole COVID thing, and somewhere in the middle of it, he signed with BMW. But if you go look at the beginning of the season, he signed for the same team as his brother. Everyone was like, oh, now both van der Lindes are in the Audi family. And yeah, that didn't go very far.
Same like eventually dropping out of the World Endurance Championship.
Yeah.
You still got some privateers running the cars, so
The
still
Bentley,
people got a seat here and there.
you got a seat, but the Bentley factory team is no more.
Yeah.
Do you guys see the Toyota hypercar actually put in some laps for the Le Mans series? The hypercar is actually out. You guys see how it looks?
I saw a Bugatti that built one of those spec cars. I'm not sure if they're entering or not, but seriously impressive piece of machinery, this thing.
Motorsport is heading in a direction that if you're a bit of a purist and you miss those sounds, it's something you're gonna have to get used to. None of us.
I was fortunate enough to have Sebastian Vettel's winning Red Bull of 2012 doing donuts like 10 meters away from him, 15 at most. Net V8, doing donuts, the compression, not even the sound, the waves, the compression out of that motor, it like vibrates your lungs. That's how violent that motor is. Yeah, it gives me goosebumps to this day. And I'm happy I experienced it. For me, it would have been fantastic if my son could experience something like that. When I grew up and watched motorsport, to see something like that. Because the technology, everything is impressive, but come on, a V8 screaming.
I can't tell you now what it was. I don't know, but I was probably was probably about 10 years old, and we went to Kyalami. Well, I went to Kyalami with my dad, and they had, it was Formula 3000. I just don't know which one it was, okay, because at the time there was Italian Formula 3000 and there was German Formula 3000, but it was one of them. They came to South Africa, and they had a round at Kyalami, and I hadn't heard a Formula 1 car yet, and that was the closest I had ever heard to a Formula 1 car. And listen, if that was the sound of a Formula 1 car, I would have been impressed. It was insane. It was a Formula 3000. It was obviously a naturally aspirated V8. This thing screamed, and that was the loudest thing I ever heard. But when I went to that F1 testing, yeah, it's not the same. It dwarfed what I heard the last time.
That experience, or that track experience, or that whole festival we would have gone to in Sandton, and the streets of the Sandton, just as lockdown loomed,
Yeah.
it got cancelled.
If lockdown had happened 3 weeks later, we would have all heard we would
2013 car.
we'd have all heard a Red Bull V8.
Oh, that's something to behold, eh?
And it really was. We didn't miss it by far. I mean, it was end of March, and I think lockdown started on the 26th or the 24th or something like that. So
Just when
we literally just missed it. And if it had been end of Feb, we still would have made it.
well, hopefully they don't scrap that idea and they bring that back, because it's something you have to experience. Oh.
Has been actually a lot of pressure being put on Twitter and various social media platforms on Lewis Hamilton to speak out about the lack of an African Grand Prix versus going to countries with terrible human rights records. So yeah, so Lewis Hamilton's used his voice for many things, and now people are asking him to use his voice because you know, you want to promote the sport, go to more places, call it a world championship. Well, it can't all be in Europe, and it's not a world championship, it's a European formula. So I don't know, will Saudi Arabia even be a long-lived thing? Will it last more than 2 races? Will it even get a race? I mean,
I asked Hanoi.
we were excited about Hanoi, and the only way you're ever going to see Hanoi is in a video game. So that's just weird. I mean, I've heard the ridiculous, like, you know, like India, they built a track, they had like 2 or 3 races and was gone, and Korea had like 1 or 2. I've even heard of races that have had 1. But building a track, like Portimão was initially built for Formula 1. Portugal wanted to get back on the calendar. Estoril was in a very built up area, and they said, no, you will have to build a new circuit. Estoril is no longer up to current standards. And they built Portimão thinking that an F1 contract was going to come. It never did. But in this particular case, there was an F1 contract. There was a race. There was a date announced. It got cancelled because of COVID, but surely we're going to do it the next race. And I don't know. That 5-year deal didn't go according to plan. It just shows you what a 5-year deal is really worth. That does not mean they're going there 5 times.
We got Portimão, we got, what else did we get this year? We got, well, Turkey. Turkey is one coming this weekend. I'm excited to see that race. Turn 8 with that triple left-hander. Really good to see the current cars around there. But traditionally, it's been a good race. We've got Imola, we've got a lot of races that we wouldn't have gotten. So, you know, tit for tat, I suppose. There's some bad, but it's some good in between also. Misano, would have thought we will see Formula 1 cars on Misano.
Slight correction. Slight correction. We'll never see Formula 1 cars ever at Misano. Mugello. Mugello.
Mugello, yeah.
I don't want to see Formula One cars at Misano. The bikes fall at Misano because it's too twisty. I wouldn't want to see no. But
I don't want to see Masano for the next 6 months.
yeah, that's right. On the SSR, haven't you guys been? You did that track a few times in a very short period of time, and wasn't there an endurance race in the middle of it?
So the Masano was on the Singlet team. Qualified for the Singlet.
All right.
I think I put in like more than 150 laps on there. Muna probably did way more than that.
Yeah.
We know probably did like 10. So, yeah, I'm ready.
And part of that was, yeah, third fast.
Yeah.
We've reached our hour mark. I don't want to go over time. I mean, we had one of these that was almost 2 hours long. It was an hour and 50 minutes. I know because I upload these afterwards, and I'm like, that's way too big. And then I went and had a look at the time, and I'm like, yes, an hour. This is perfectly an hour. But guys, thank you very much. Thank you for joining the podcast. What's before we go? What's the prediction for Friday night? Is not Aston Martin going to make an epic return at Catalunya?
I hope so.
Is it DHL Sports?
It's gonna one of these days we're gonna hit the sweet spot.
Is our YouTube team going to make a comeback? Or at least one of them?
That's a totally different question. But
I know Devin's just sitting there quietly, and I'm like, don't forget about.
across the board, one of these days.
I just want to make sure Devin doesn't. I think I forgot. He said he was coming back.
Devin,
You better come back.
update your PlayStation.
You better come back. Yeah, update your PlayStation. I know you want to hold on to that PS3 software, but let it go.
You already did it yesterday.
What, upgraded his PS3?
No. Downloaded.
No, he probably only downloaded the latest PS3 software now. It's a little bit behind.
I know Devin, looking at graphics cards and things, he probably got a new PlayStation 5 in his cupboard. He's just hiding it already.
Be careful with what you broadcast. Anyone can hear it. But on that note, we're gonna go, guys. Thank you very much. We'll be back in some way next week on Tuesday night, 8:30. Hopefully with these three characters back, maybe in a different combination. But we'll see you then.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers, guys. Enjoy.